Every morning in America, as millions rise from their beds, thousands more wake up on cold concrete. In the land of opportunity, not everyone has a place to call home. Today, we're diving into the harsh reality of the 10 most homeless cities in America. But this isn't just about numbers. It's about people, their stories, and the communities trying to make a difference. Homelessness isn't just a statistic, it's Jim, the veteran struggling with PTSD. Sarah, the single mom working 2 jobs, and Michael, the teenager who aged out of foster care. It's a complex issue that touches every corner of our nation, from sun-soaked coastal cities to the heartland. As we explore these 10 cities, remember, behind every number is a human being with hopes, dreams, and a story to tell. Let's start our journey across America, uncovering the cities where the homeless crisis has hit hardest. We'll look at the causes, the consequences, and most importantly, the people working tirelessly to turn the tide. Number 10, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The city of brotherly love faces a brotherly challenge. With over 5,700 people experiencing homelessness on any given night, Philadelphia's streets tell a story of struggle and resilience. Meet Tom, a 52-year-old former construction worker. "I never thought I'd end up here," he says, gesturing to his tent under an overpass. "But one workplace injury, and suddenly, I couldn't keep up with the bills." Tom's story is all too common in Philly. The city's poverty rate, hovering around 25%, is among the highest for major U.S. cities. This poverty, combined with a shortage of affordable housing, has pushed thousands onto the streets or into shelters, but Philadelphia is fighting back. The city's Roadmap to Homes initiative aims to make homelessness rare, brief, and non-recurring. This comprehensive plan includes increasing affordable housing, improving the shelter system, and expanding street outreach. Local organizations are leading the charge. Project Home, for instance, is not just providing shelter, they're creating communities. "We believe in a holistic approach," says Sister Mary Scullion, co-founder of Project Home. "Housing, employment, healthcare, it's all connected." Innovative solutions are emerging too. The city has converted vacant lots into community gardens, providing fresh produce and a sense of purpose for many experiencing homelessness. "It's not just about growing food," explains community garden coordinator Lisa. "It's about growing hope." As we leave Philly, we're reminded that in the face of adversity, the spirit of brotherly love endures. It's seen in the volunteers at soup kitchens, in the social workers tirelessly advocating for their clients, and in neighbors helping neighbors. Philadelphia's challenge is great, but its heart is greater. Number 9, Las Vegas, Nevada. In a city known for high stakes, nearly 6,000 individuals find themselves on the losing end of the housing game. Las Vegas's homeless population has grown by 9% in recent years. The stark contrast between the glittering strip and the struggle on the streets is embodied by Maria, a former blackjack dealer. "I used to watch people win big," she says. "Now, I'm just trying to win back a roof over my head." Las Vegas's homelessness crisis is uniquely challenging. The transient nature of the city, coupled with its extreme desert climate, creates additional hurdles. In summer, temperatures soar past 100 degrees Fahrenheit, while winter nights can drop below freezing. Underneath the city, a different Vegas exists. Miles of flood tunnels have become makeshift homes for hundreds. "It's safer down here," explains tunnel resident John. "Up there, you're invisible. Down here, we look out for each other." However, innovative solutions are emerging. The city has converted shipping containers into temporary housing units, providing a stepping stone for those looking to get back on their feet. "It's not the Bellagio," jokes container resident Sarah, "but it's a start." Local casinos are also stepping up. Several have implemented programs to donate unused food to shelters. "In a city of excess, it only makes sense to share," says casino executive Mark. Community organizations like Help of Southern Nevada are providing crucial support. Their Shannon West Homeless Youth Center offers a lifeline to young people on the streets. "We're not just giving them a bed, explains Center Director Lisa. We're giving them a future. As the neon lights continue to beckon tourists, Las Vegas is working to ensure that its own citizens aren't left in the dark. The city that's known for second chances is fighting to give its homeless population just that, another roll of the dice. Number 8. Chicago, Illinois. The Windy City faces a storm of homelessness, with over 6,800 individuals without permanent shelter. Chicago's brutal winters make this crisis particularly dangerous. We met James at a local warming center. When that wind hits you and you've got nowhere to go, it's terrifying, he shares. These centers, they're lifesavers. Literally, Chicago's homelessness crisis is as complex as the city itself. Racial disparities are stark. African Americans make up 30% of the city's population, but 75% of those experiencing homelessness. The city's history of segregation and disinvestment in certain neighborhoods plays a significant role. The challenge is compounded by Chicago's extreme weather. Summer heat waves and winter polar vortexes pose life-threatening risks to those on the streets. The city's network of warming and cooling centers provides crucial refuge, but they're a temporary fix to a persistent problem. Chicago is tackling the issue head-on with its Plan 2.0 strategy, a comprehensive approach to prevent and end homelessness. The plan focuses on the housing first model, prioritizing stable housing as a foundation for addressing other issues. Innovative solutions are emerging. The city is pioneering in providing tiny homes as transitional housing. It's not just about size, explains project coordinator Sarah. It's about dignity, privacy, and a sense of ownership. Community organizations are making a significant impact. The Night Ministries Street Medicine program brings healthcare directly to those living on the streets. Many of our patients haven't seen a doctor in years, says Dr. Martinez. We're bridging that gap. As we leave Chicago, we're struck by the resilience of its people, both those experiencing homelessness and those working tirelessly to help. In a city known for its architecture, the most impressive structures may be the bridges of compassion being built every day. Number 7. San Diego, California. America's finest city grapples with a not-so-fine situation. Nearly 8,000 people experience homelessness in San Diego, with about half living on the streets. Lisa, a 35-year-old mother of 2, shared her story. We came here for the weather when we lost our home. It's safer for the kids than colder cities, but it's still no way to live. San Diego's homelessness crisis is paradoxical. The city's mild climate, which draws millions of tourists each year, also attracts individuals experiencing homelessness from colder regions. This influx strains an already overwhelmed system. The city's high cost of living exacerbates the problem. With median home prices over $600,000 and average rents exceeding $1,800 per month, many San Diegans are one paycheck away from losing their homes. However, San Diego is responding with determination. The city's housing first approach prioritizes getting people into stable housing before addressing other issues. It's hard to focus on job training or addiction treatment when you don't know where you'll sleep, explains social worker Mark. The creation of bridge shelters has been a game changer. These large tents provide a crucial step between the streets and permanent housing. It's not just a bed, says shelter resident Tom. It's a chance to catch your breath and plan your next move. San Diego's 3,000 homes in 3 years initiative is ambitious but crucial. The plan involves converting motels into supportive housing and streamlining the process for building affordable units. Community efforts are making a difference too. The nonprofit Lucky Duck Foundation has installed water stations throughout the city, providing a basic necessity often taken for granted. It's a small thing, says Foundation Director Sarah, but it can make a big difference in someone's day. As we leave San Diego, we're reminded that in a city known for its natural beauty, the most beautiful sight might be the community coming together to tackle this crisis. Number 6. Boston, Massachusetts. In a city steeped in history, over 8,000 people face a present-day crisis of homelessness. Boston's high cost of living contributes significantly to this issue. At Pine Street in Boston's largest homeless services provider. We met Steve. I've got a master's degree, he tells us. But when rent eats up 70% of your income, one setback is all it takes. Steve's story underscores a harsh reality in Boston. Even a good education and steady job don't guarantee housing security. The city's booming tech and biotech industries have driven up housing costs, pushing many longtime residents to the brink. Boston's homelessness crisis is further complicated by its status as a sanctuary city. While this policy offers protection to vulnerable populations, it also increases demand for already strained resources. However, Boston is fighting back with characteristic determination. The city's action plan to end veteran and chronic homelessness has shown promising results, reducing veteran homelessness by 36% since its implementation. Innovative solutions are emerging. The city is exploring converting vacant buildings into affordable housing units. It's a win-win, explains city planner Jennifer. We're addressing homelessness and urban blight simultaneously. Modular homes are another creative approach. These prefabricated units can be built quickly and cost-effectively, providing rapid housing solutions. It's not just about speed, says housing advocate Tom. It's about dignity. Everyone deserves a place to call home. Community organizations are making a significant impact. Boston's Healthcare for the Homeless program provides comprehensive medical care to those without shelter. Health and housing are inextricably linked, explains Dr. Johnson. We can't address one without the other. As we leave Boston, we're reminded of the city's revolutionary spirit. In the face of this modern crisis, Bostonians are once again rising to the challenge, proving that the cradle of liberty can also be a beacon of hope for its most vulnerable citizens. Number 5, Washington, D.C. In the shadow of the nation's capital, over 9,000 people experience homelessness. The stark contrast between power and powerlessness is evident on these streets. We spoke with Angela, a former government employee. I used to work there, she points to a federal building. Now, I can see my old office from the park where I sleep. Angela's story highlights the precarious nature of housing security in D.C. The city's transformation over the past decades has led to rapid gentrification, pushing longtime residents out of their neighborhoods and, in some cases, onto the streets. The crisis in D.C. is particularly poignant given its location. As lawmakers debate national policies, the human cost of those decisions is visible just blocks away. It's a failure of our system, says local activist John. How can we claim to be the world's leading democracy when we can't house our own people? However, D.C. is addressing the crisis through its Homeward D.C. strategic plan, aiming to make homelessness rare, brief, and non-recurring. The plan focuses on prevention, increasing affordable housing, and providing supportive services. The city is investing heavily in rapid rehousing programs, which provide short-term rental assistance and supportive services. It's about breaking the cycle, explains program director Sarah. We're giving people a chance to stabilize their lives. Permanent supportive housing is another key initiative. These programs combine affordable housing with wraparound services like mental health care and job training. It's not just about putting a roof over someone's head, says social worker Mark. It's about addressing the root causes of homelessness. Community organizations are stepping up too. Miriam's Kitchen, for instance, goes beyond providing meals. Their Housing First approach has successfully moved hundreds of chronically homeless individuals into permanent housing. As we leave D.C., we're struck by the irony of such widespread homelessness in the seat of national power. But we're also inspired by the dedicated individuals working tirelessly to change this reality, proving that true power lies in compassion and action. Number 4, San Francisco, California. In the city by the bay, the crisis of homelessness has reached staggering proportions. Over 8,000 people live on San Francisco streets, with thousands more in shelters or transitional housing. Tech boom and skyrocketing rents have reshaped the city. Mark, a former IT professional, shared his story. One day I was coding for startups, the next I was coding on the streets. The irony isn't lost on me, Mark's experience underscores the complexity of San Francisco's homelessness crisis. The city's tech-driven economic boom has created immense wealth, but it's also driven housing costs to astronomical levels. The median home price now exceeds $1.3 million, putting homeownership out of reach for many. The visibility of homelessness in San Francisco is stark. Tent encampments line sidewalks in neighborhoods from the Tenderloin to the Mission. It's a public health crisis, says Dr. Lee of the Department of Public Health. We're seeing diseases that shouldn't exist in a developed country. Mental health and substance abuse issues compound the problem. An estimated 39% of homeless individuals in San Francisco report psychiatric or emotional conditions. Number 3, Seattle, Washington. The Emerald City's sparkle is dimmed by a homelessness crisis affecting over 11,000 people. Seattle's tech industry boom has contributed to a housing affordability crisis. We met Sarah under the Ballard Bridge. I grew up here, but I can't afford to live here anymore, she says. It feels like the city I love doesn't love me back. Sarah's story is echoed by many in Seattle. The city's rapid growth, driven by tech giants like Amazon and Microsoft, has sent housing costs soaring. The median home price has doubled in the last decade, now exceeding $800,000. Seattle's homelessness crisis is visible throughout the city. From the infamous jungle encampment to smaller tent cities in parks and under overpasses, the evidence of the housing crisis is hard to miss. It's a humanitarian disaster, says local activist Tom. We're one of the wealthiest cities in the world, yet we have people living in third-world conditions. The city's mild, if rainy, climate paradoxically exacerbates the problem. People come here because you can survive outside year-round, explains outreach worker Maria. But surviving isn't living. Seattle is responding with its Pathways Home initiative, focusing on moving people quickly into permanent housing. We're shifting from a shelter-first to a housing-first model, says city official John. It's more effective and more humane. The city is also exploring innovative solutions like authorized encampments and tiny house villages. It's not perfect, admits village resident Mike, but it's a step up from the streets. It gives us a chance to breathe, to plan for the future. Community organizations are making a significant impact. The Downtown Emergency Service Center, DESC, provides supportive housing and mental health services. Many of our clients have been failed by multiple systems, says DESC Director Sarah. We're trying to break that cycle. As we leave Seattle, we're struck by the juxtaposition of gleaming tech campuses and makeshift tent cities. But we're also inspired by the resilience of those experiencing homelessness and the dedication of those working to help them. In the Emerald City, hope still shines through the rain. Number 2, New York City, New York. In the city that never sleeps, over 78,000 people have no place to call home. This staggering number includes nearly 25,000 children. In a city of 8 million stories, we met John at a soup kitchen in the Bowery. I used to be a Wall Street trader, he tells us. Now I trade tips on the best places to stay warm at night. John's story underscores the precarious nature of life in New York. In a city known for its extremes, the gap between wealth and poverty is stark. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment exceeds $3,000 per month, pricing out many longtime residents. New York's homelessness crisis is largely invisible to tourists. The city's right-to-shelter law means that most homeless individuals are in shelters rather than on the streets. But this system is stretched to its limits. We're housing people in hotels in cluster sites, explains shelter director Maria. It's not ideal, but it's better than the streets. The impact on children is particularly heartbreaking. Over 114,000 New York City public school students experienced homelessness in the 2018 to 2019 school year. It's hard to focus on algebra when you don't know where you'll sleep, says teacher Tom. NYC is combating homelessness through its Turning the Tides plan, which includes opening new shelters and expanding rental assistance programs. We're trying to keep people in their homes, explains city official Sarah. Prevention is key. The city is also focusing on homelessness prevention through legal assistance for tenants facing eviction. A lawyer can make all the difference, says attorney Mark. Often, just having representation can stop an eviction. Community organizations are stepping up too. The Bowery Mission has been serving New York's homeless population for over 140 years. The faces change, but the need remains, says Mission Director John. As we leave New York, we're reminded of the city's resilience. In the face of overwhelming numbers, New Yorkers continue to fight for their neighbors, proving that the city's heart is as big as its skyline. Number 1, Los Angeles, California. Topping our list is the City of Angels, where over 66,000 people experience homelessness on any given night. The crisis here is visible, with tent cities lining streets from Venice Beach to downtown LA. We spoke with Maria, living in a tent on Skid Row. I came here chasing a dream, she says, her eyes glistening. Now I'm just trying to survive. Maria's story is echoed by thousands in LA. The city's homeless population has grown by 16% in the last year alone, a staggering increase that has overwhelmed services and shocked residents. The causes are complex. Soaring housing costs, stagnant wages, and a lack of affordable housing all play a role. It's a perfect storm, explains housing advocate John. People are one paycheck, one medical bill, one crisis away from losing their homes. LA's homelessness crisis is uniquely visible. The city's warm climate means many people live outdoors year-round, in tents, cars, or makeshift shelters. This visibility has sparked heated debates about public space and safety. Mental health and substance abuse issues compound the problem. An estimated 29% of LA's homeless population suffers from serious mental illness, while 27% have a substance use disorder. We need a comprehensive approach, says Dr. Lee, a street medicine physician. Housing alone isn't enough. LA is tackling this crisis head-on. The housing-first approach is gaining traction, prioritizing stable housing as a foundation for addressing other issues. Initiatives like Proposition HHH are funding supportive housing, aiming to create 10,000 units over a decade. The city is also exploring creative solutions like converting motels into housing and building micro-unit apartments. We need to think outside the box, says city planner Sarah. Traditional approaches aren't keeping up with the scale of the problem. But perhaps the most powerful response comes from everyday Angelinos. Community organizations and grassroots movements are springing up across the city. From food drives to advocacy groups, Angelinos are proving that, in the face of crisis, the City of Angels is living up to its name. As we conclude our journey in LA, we're reminded that behind every statistic is a human story. The scale of the crisis is daunting, but the spirit of those working to solve it is inspiring. In the end, it's not just about finding homes for people, but about rebuilding a sense of community and hope.